Okay. Welcome to the class of plant tissue culture. And in today's class, we shall be dealing with somoclonal variation. We shall look into the somoclonal variation and their application and also the demerits in agriculture and crop improvement, paying special attention to disease resistance plants. So the very meaning, what is somoclonal variation? Soma means somatic cells. Clonal means similar, genotypically similar plant. So how I'm getting the clone? Clone is many number of plants. We are propagating that plant in larger number. So how I'm propagating? By using somatic cell. Okay, that is the meaning of somoclonal variation. So when I am doing somoclonal experiments in tissue culture, it can lead to variation. So naturally also this can happen. So this is the meaning of somoclonal variation. So the variation which arises in the vegetative clones of the plant are called as somoclonal variation. This can have merits and demerits. So for example, if our objective is to do clonal propagation, okay, clonal propagation is what? I want to multiply one plant. For example, consider an X plant. I want to multiply that same X plant. So what? X plant, from that X plant, whatever the progeny I'm getting, Y and Z, they should be exactly similar to the X. Okay, that is called as a clonal. Genotypically, it has to be similar. And why I have selected that X plant? Because it is having unique characteristics. So I want to propagate that plant. That is why I have going for somoclonal variation or vegetative propagation of that plant. So what happens is, but whenever you're selecting that X plant, I got Y and Z plant. But what happens is it results in some variation. Okay, I'll write it and show you. Suppose say this was my plant of interest and I'm propagating it. I got Y, Z, A all from this plant. Okay. So what is my idea? These all Y, Z, A has to be similar to X. But unfortunately, what happened? It resulted in somoclonal variation. That is, some changes occurred. So this phenomena is called as somoclonal variation. That is, there has occurred a change in the progeny when you compare it to your parent plant. So what could be the mechanism of this somatic variation which can result in somoclonal variant? So there are numerous mechanisms that can result in the accumulation of this somoclonal variation. However, some of the major categories where evidences have been recorded includes these following changes. For example, you can see in this picture, in the plant tissue culture, what we are doing, we are regeneration of plant. We are regenerating the plant how? We are selecting one plant. So I selected one plant. That was the X plant and I want to regenerate it. I wanted to grow it. See, when I'm telling in tissue culture, when I'm telling X plant, I'm not taking the whole plant, right? I'm taking only a part of a plant, a piece of a plant, and that is called as your X plant, and that is what I am propagating. So in plant tissue culture, the regeneration of the plant is a selection process which involves mitotic cell division. So in somatic cells, what is happening, how they are dividing, it is through the process of mitotic cell division. That is the ability of your plant cell to reach a larger number. So cell division is leading to differentiation. So whatever is happening in vegetative propagation, we'll take a simple example again about the rose plant. You take a rose cutting and when you grow that plant again by vegetative propagation, it grows into a whole plant. Why? Because it is having the totipotency ability. Second, it is undergoing mitotic division. Okay, there are meristematic tissues which can multiply it and develop it into different parts of the plant or different organs of the plant. So because of this rapid multiplication in tissue culture, now I'm talking, because of the rapid multiplication, this can lead to chromosomal instability. So what I'm doing, I'm growing so many plants, large number of plants I'm propagating using the somatic cell. And so what it can result to, it can result in chromosomal instability. The chromosome will become unstable. Okay. And when the chromosome become unstable, what happens? You can see the phenotypic change. Okay. The genotype of your plant has changed. So obviously what you can see is the phenotypic changes also you can see. See here, all these pictures you see, the leaf size, the shape, how they are varied. A same plant, leaves have been modified. Similarly, the stems, the inflorescence, the flowers, all are different. Okay. So the phenotypic changes can be like the change in the size of the leaf or the color of the leaf, of the height or the branching and so on. So these are usually visible to you. Okay. You will be wondering how, in your garden also, like how come it suddenly changed? Why the leaf shape is like this? Because naturally it has undergone somoclonal variation. But here, remember, we are talking about plant tissue culture. So here what is happening when I'm doing a somoclonal variation, when I'm multiplying clonal propagation, I'm doing, because I'm doing it in large number, that can result in the chromosomal instability. And how it causes the instability, we shall see that. So the chromosomal instability can be in terms of biochemical instability. That is in an already existing compound. So for example, this is we'll take this only. This is a plant. Okay. And here what is that? Biochemical pathways occurs. Okay. So already this plant produces an metabolite. So here what happens? There is, remember that suddenly a somoclonal variation occurs. This is a normal plant, but a somoclonal variation has occurred. So what happens? There will become a biochemical instability. That is, an already existing compound, suddenly you will see that some new compounds are getting formed. Okay. You choose this plant because it is producing one type of biochemical component A. And you brought it to the tissue culture plant. You did all the tissue culture method and finally you got a whole plant, but it is not giving you the A product. It is giving you some CD products. So this, what you can say, that this plant has resulted in somoclonal variation. They have changed the component. That is, it has resulted in biochemical instability. So which means that some of this variation which might have happened because of the in vitro condition, which may be the stress to the culture, which may have caused this variation, ultimately leading to the variation in the biochemical synthesis. So I went to a garden and I took that plant because I wanted that A component in the plant. When I grew the same plant in the laboratory, that environment, the physiology of the plant itself is different from what is there in the natural environment. So when I grew it, it not produce the A component, but it is producing some other component. Why did this happen so? This happens so because of one, maybe many reasons, but one reason may be because of the stress what we are giving to the plant. Okay, that stress may be like your sterilization, your phytohormones, or the nutrients what you're providing. Okay, the hardening procedure what you're following. All this is causing the stress to the plant. Suddenly there is a traumatic shock for them. So the biochemical pathway has changed. So when you're using cells or callus in vitro culturing, which are somatic cells, so there occurs an uncontrolled variation during the callus regeneration. So cells and tissue culture undergo frequent genetic changes, and these get expressed in the form of biochemical and molecular level changes. So whether I am taking my explant, okay, whether I'm taking a part of my plant, for example, I just took the stem of the plant and I'm growing it in the lab, or maybe I have took the stem of the plant and I'm converting it to callus. So you are doing all the manipulation in your glass vase. So this can lead to some variation, some changes. And one such change is the biochemical changes. So why this happened? Because of the stress which you are inducing to the plant. So you can see here another picture. Look at this. This is the actual plant. The flower. Okay. But you can see here the color of the flower, which was white, it has turned into yellow. Okay. So you have got a new variant. But since it is a flower and suppose you like this color, you can propagate it because it is having some beneficial effect. Okay. So that is why we are saying somoclonal variation can either be merit or it can lead to demerit. Demerit, as I told you one example, some biochemical changes have happened and you are not getting your compound of interest. But here you see the flower color, dual color I got. And it can be ornamentally very good, okay, for floriculture or horticulture, whatever. It is a unique plant. So it is a merit. Some changes has happened, that is a positive change has occurred. So this is the first one what we spoke about, causes of somoclonal variation. First is the biochemical cause we saw, okay. This happened because of the stress what we are inducing to the plant in the various stages of the growth of the plant. That is from my explant to the whole plant. We are providing all artificial conditions. And this can cause a stress or traumatic shock to the plant. And that is why they are changing their biochemical components. So we know that the plants are totipotent. Okay, that is they have the ability to grow into a whole plant. And as I said, every cell needs to divide a number of times. That is redifferentiation, differentiation, they should undergo that. Okay. Because of this, sometimes there is ploidy change. Ploidy means what? Here the word ploidy is there. So you have heard this word in genetics, okay? Ploidy. So we told polyploidy, many number of sets of chromosomes, okay? If I'm having a set of chromosomes, I'll draw it and show you all. For example, if this is the chromosome, okay, this is a pair of chromosomes. Suppose say this is a diploid, and suppose say one more chromosome adds to it. What is this? It is a triploid. So what has occurred? Ploidy has occurred. So the ploidy is here, it is polyploidy because there is an increase in number. There can result in decrease in number also, monoploidy. From this, if you remove of one more chromosome, what happens? Only single chromosome is there. So monoploidy. So this type of ploidy changes you will find in the tissue culture when you're cultivating the plant. That is what is happening. They are undergoing recombination is happening. So recombination, you also know this. Okay, we'll take the example of these two, this one and this two chromosomes. They undergo recombination, crossing over will occur. Okay. So what has happened? There is a snapping of your genes. One chromosome has gone and attached to the other chromosome. So they have changed the position. Recombination has occurred. So that character which was not there in the parent, because of recombination in the progeny, you're seeing some different character. That is called as recombination. Okay. So recombination can happen, ploidy can happen. That is, the genes change their position in the chromosome. Sudden changes in condition can also result in epigenetic variation. Now, when these are all sudden changes which are happening, it can lead to epigenetic variation. What do you mean by epigenetic variation? Here you can see I have written here epigenetic variation. So these are non-heritable variation, whereas these, the biochemical causes, these are heritable variation. The genetic variation, what you saw, the ploidy, the recombination, these are heritable. That is, if your parent has that, if the parent plant has some change, it will go to the progeny. And that progeny, when it is having another progeny, it will also have the same character. So that type of variation, it is called heritable variation. It goes throughout the line of that generation. But what do you mean by epigenetic variation? These are non-heritable variation. Okay, that is, the change is happening because of the environment in which they are growing. So these are non-heritable. That is, if one plant, okay, because of the environmental condition, it has inherited some property, it doesn't mean that its progeny should also have that property. No, it is just temporary, these are. Okay. So epigenetic variation, example, DNA methylation. Okay, that is, a methyl group is getting added to your DNA. That can happen. Variation generated during tissue culture. That is, when you're doing tissue culture, all the physiological condition, the temperature, the what is that, density, the pressure, the light illumination, all you are providing. Okay, that may lead to a variation. And what it results in the temporary phenotypic changes. So this temporary phenotypic changes will be with that plant itself. It will not go to its progeny. And these occur in low frequency. Whereas those heritable variation, wherein we spoke about the ploidy or recombination, they occur at higher frequency. Okay. So as I told, DNA methylation can happen. Even addition of chemicals here. Certain chemicals we add here, you can see chemicals like colchicine bring about change in the chromosome number and ploidy level. So what happens is, when we add this chemical colchicine, it can go and interfere with the DNA and it can bring about the mutation. So when it brings about mutation, what it results? It is resulting in heritable variation. That is, the next plant also, the new plant also will have the same genetic variation. Okay. But anyhow, when we come to tissue culture, we are not going to add this colchicine and all, because we already know that it is going to cause some mutational changes. Okay. It will interfere with the microtubules of your chromosomes when they have to separate, during the meiosis or mitosis. So they interfere with that. But somehow in plant tissue culture, when I'm doing tissue culture lab, I know the drawbacks of colchicines, hence I don't use this. But you remember that this also can bring about the changes. So the colchicines bring about a change in the chromosome number and the ploidy level. The culture of the plant that results from the physiological or epigenetic effects usually do not inherit to the next generation, and they are reversible. And therefore, these variations or these phenotypic are temporary and non-inherent. So you have to remember this point very clearly. The difference between genetic and epigenetic. So whatever is happening in epigenetic, it can be reversed. Okay. And these variations which are resulting in the phenotypic changes, okay, it is not interfering with your genes. Some phenotypic changes is happening. Okay. See, for example, how to tell. Maybe I'm a fair-skinned person, but repeatedly I'm exposed to the sun radiation, what happens? My skin turns dark. But again, when I stay back at home, so what happens? My skin color again changes to a fairer skin. So this is only a phenotypic change. So that progeny cannot have that same tanned color. Okay. So these epigenetic changes are non-inheritable, whereas your genetic changes are heritable. So if your biochemical changes are happening in the chromosome, then obviously even they are heritable variation. So generally, whenever we are doing this plant tissue culture, we do not use any mutagenic agent in the media like this colchicines and all, we don't use. So when you are doing plant tissue culture, there may be sudden changes in the culture condition, or if you delay the subculture, okay, you know what is subculturing. I am growing my plant or my clalus in different fresh media, not in different, in a new fresh media. I'm always going on growing the plants in the new culture media. So there may be a sudden changes in the culture condition, or if you delay the subculturing cycle for very long period, you have not subcultured at all, then it can lead to this type of somoclonal variation. So these changes happen, but it is not immediately, it will not happen. Okay. So you tell that some somoclonal variation has happened in this leaf, you think. Immediately, can you see the changes? No, it will take over long period time. Okay, immediate changes cannot be seen. So it will not happen immediately. But if there are stress condition, continuously you are provided for number of subculture. If there is stress condition for the X plant, it is recommended for the immediate subculture and uniformity of the inoculum. That is what you're doing is you are supposing you are not doing subculturing properly. Then it can result in such type of unwanted somoclonal variation. So what you have to do is in order to avoid the unwanted somoclonal variation, you have to go for periodic subculturing. And when you're doing subculturing, you have to use the same concentration of the media, same ingredients of the media. So one second. So if this is my plant 1, I have to subculture it again subculture, again subculture. The frequency of your subculturing can vary. I told you in banana, only 7 subculturing is suitable. After that, it is not a healthy plant, you do not get. So it matters. So subculturing becomes important, otherwise it can lead to somoclonal variation. So suppose say if your objective is to produce secondary metabolites. Okay, you have a separate chapter on secondary metabolites. We shall deal it in detail. But again, for time being, remember that secondary metabolites are produced by the plant during the stationary phase, which is called as the EDO phase. You have the different growth phases, right? So there is a stationary phase. There you get the secondary metabolites. The plants or your microorganisms, they produce the secondary metabolites, which are economically and commercially important for us. See, they produce amino acid, they produce lactic acid, they produce acetic acid. All these are important for us, right? So that is what is called as a secondary metabolite. So if your objective is to produce secondary metabolite, the product quality and the quantity has to be kept consistent. To get reproducible result, the inoculum which you use for subculture has to be same in quality, and then the culture condition have to be kept in the same conditions. So if you want a secondary metabolites, for example, say that I want lactic acid. Okay. So to produce this lactic acid, you have to undergo the subculturing. If you don't subculture, what happens? There will be no nutrition for the plant. Desiccation of the nutrients or the agar happen, and ultimately your explant will die. So my explant should not die. That is why I'm going for subculturing, right? That is what we told. So in my subculturing, again, I'll provide the fresh media, all the nutrients, what I provided in the first one. Okay, this first one, I'll provide the same thing here also. So what is happening? There is uniformity, similarity, so that I get my end product, only lactic acid and nothing else. So physiological conditions. Okay, we have talked about the stress conditions. Now the physiological condition, for example, it depends on the genetic makeup of the explant which you are using, or the culture condition, or the concentration of the media. So the physiological condition can also can form a somoclonal variation in your plant. Okay, so what are these physiological conditions? These may be, for example, what type of explant you have chosen, what is the culture condition you're using, or what is the concentration of the media, what is the phytohormones you are using. All this, whatever I said now, this all can lead to a somoclonal variation in the tissue culture. When tissue culture means, remember, you are doing it in vitro. You are growing that plant in vitro, in the laboratory. So when I'm growing the plant in the laboratory, sometimes what happens, because of this biochemical changes, or because of the stress condition, or because of the physiological conditions, or because of some of the chemicals, okay, this can lead to variation. So the plant material, what I have chosen, will, when it produces a progeny, not a progeny here, when it produces a new plant, because this is all vegetative propagation from somatic cells, okay, there is no sexual reproduction here. So there will be some changes, what you're seeing in your new plant and your plant, the original plant. So when there is a change in this original and the new plant, it is called as variation. And since you have used somatic cells for the clonal propagation, it is called as somoclonal variation. And these all what I am speaking, this slide, it is all resulting in the variation, some changes. And remember, the changes can be positive. It can have the beneficial effect, or it can have the deleterious effect. So it can have merit and demerit also. But now whatever we spoke was all the demerits. Now we spoke about the physiological basis, genetic basis, then epigenetic we spoke about, biochemical variation we spoke about. Now, can there be molecular basis of variation? The answer is yes. Okay. So what if the answer is yes? If there is a molecular basis of variation, how? This can arise due to single gene mutation. Only single gene, it is getting mutated. Okay, which can happen in your cultured cells, because of the condition we are providing. We are providing all proper condition, but to that plant that is acting as a stress. Okay, and because of that stress, it is causing mutation. A single gene in that plant is getting mutated. So this can lead to molecular variation. So there can be cytoplasmic changes also. Okay, the changes in the cytoplasmic genome. Here it is written. See, cytoplasmic genome. Single gene mutation can occur. There can be cytoplasmic genome change. So why the cytoplasmic genome change is occurring? So here what is exactly the meaning of cytoplasmic genome means? The chloroplast. Okay, you know the plant is having the chloroplast where the photosynthesis is occurring. Sometimes it is observed that some plasmids, okay, plasmids get extra chromosomal material getting integrated into the mitochondrial genome. So again, I have to draw it and show you. So what is happening is, there is a chromosome, okay, this is the actual chromosome, I mean that is your plasmid. Some plasmids get extra chromosome, okay, some extra chromosome I have got. This is the extra chromosome, I have got it. And what this extra chromosome did, it went and integrated into the mitochondrial genome. So it is bringing about the change. So this is called a cytoplasmic genome. Okay. So in the chloroplast, sometimes it is observed that some plasmids get extra chromosomal material and that gets integrated into your mitochondrial genome. And when it gets integrated into the mitochondrial genome, obviously it will result in change, because this is not my chromosome, my plant's chromosome. It has come from somewhere and it has integrated, and even this will start expressing itself. So it is leading to a change. So this can lead to a chromosomal variation. There are also transposable elements. Okay, this picture you have seen many times. Okay, so these are transposable elements. What are these transposable elements and how are they getting activated? So the transposable elements, these are small DNA sequence, okay, which can change their relative position. For example, see, this is a transposable element. It is what? A small DNA it is. This is a small DNA. So what they do is, suddenly the same DNA will change their relative position in the chromosome. So if this is the chromosome present and if this is the small DNA, which is your transposome, what it will do? It will go somewhere else. It will change its position. Okay. So this DNA has come here, small DNA, and this is the transposable element. So this is, what are transposable elements? They are small sequence of DNA and they are called as transposable DNA. Why? Because they change the position in the DNA. Look, from year to year they have come. So when the recombination happens because of the genes are jumping, it was here and it has jumped here. So they are called as jumping genes. So there may be activation of the transposon elements. This can be a single mutation which might happen. So this can also lead to single mutations. Now you can see here, this is a very good example showing that your corn or maize, you can see different colors of the corn. Why this has happened? This is because of the presence of your transposable element. Because they are leading to a single gene mutation they are causing. If you were sitting here, it would have been a normal maize. But what did it do? It jumped to the other side and it got integrated into it. So when this jumping is happening, okay, that is why these transposable elements are called as a jumping genes. So there may be activation of the transposable elements. So what it happens, it can lead to a single gene mutation and you get such type of variety. If you like this variety, you can keep this variety and you can grow again in your field. But if you are not comfortable with this variety, always you can discard them. So remember, these are transposable elements. Okay, what are transposable elements? Means they are small mobile DNA. Mobile means which can move. Transposable elements are the mobile DNA segments that are capable of moving from one position, okay, from one position into another position in the genome, and they can result in the insertional mutation. So they got inserted into this DNA. So if this is a DNA, something else has come and it has sat here. So it has resulted in the insertional mutagenesis. It has been observed that the activity of the transposable element usually increases in the in vitro cultured plants. So this tissue culture stress can activate the transposable elements that were silent earlier, and this may result in the accumulation of the genetic variation. So there was, when you're doing plant tissue culture, no, there was already this transposable element in your explant. It was silent. It was not expressing itself. But when you started growing this explant by providing various nutrients, physiological condition, you're providing phytohormones, what is happening? The explant you have taken from the mother plant, right, which was grown in the field. Now this explant, what it is facing stress. It cannot withstand that stress. So what happens? The stress is activating your transposable element. This fellow was silent, but the stress what you created, okay, in the plant tissue culture lab, you are providing nutrition, but you don't know. You're doing good thing to the plant, but unfortunately that for that plant or the explant, it is becoming stressful, and the stress is acting on the transposons, and the transposons become activated, and they induce this insertional mutation. And you see that there, whatever the new plant which is grown in your tissue culture is exactly different from the mother plant what you got. So in somoclonal, here also you can see so much variations. Okay, if I want the same leaf and I don't want these all, I can discard them and I can cultivate only this. But if you like this different variation, you can keep them, right? So in somoclonals, because they're depending upon the sources of variation from where they're originated, these are grouped into two categories. Already we spoke about this. Okay. So these somoclones, because they're depended on different sources of variations, you saw all those, what all sources are breaking about your variation. There are two types of variation. One is the pre-existing variation in the somatic cell of the plant. Another is the in vitro induced somoclonal variation. So there are two different type of variation. One is the pre-existing variation. Another is the in vitro induced. So in vitro, whenever it comes to in vitro, your mind should immediately come to the lab. You are doing everything under the lab condition. So it is grouped into two categories. That is the pre-existing variability, and the second is the in vitro induced variability. So the first category is the pre-existing variability. So the variation that are already present in the explant, when we have harvested that explant to initiate the in vitro culture, somatic tissues accumulate mutation with the age and differentiation status. The more they specialize in the tissue, the plant body, more will be the chances of mutation. That is known as a pre-existing variation. I shall tell it again. Okay, I'll repeat it again. So what is happening? You have chosen a plant. Okay. You have chosen this plant. This plant is already having some variation. It is pre-existing variation is present in it. And why that happened? Why this variation happened in this plant? Maybe because of the age of the plant, or remember, plant is always going under the process of differentiation, de-differentiation, re-differentiation. So what is happening? There can exist a variation. Okay, so a plant which is already having this variation, it is called as pre-existing variation. So where is the variation? It is there in your somatic cells of the explant. If it is there in the gene, means it is heritable. Okay. So because of the age of the plant, or because it is undergoing de-differentiation, re-differentiation, so it is already your plant is having the variation. That is the meaning. So more the specialized. Now, for example, you take this one plant only will take. You see the plant, some of the plants, I mean not some, all the plants will be having some specialized tissue in the body. For example, I have given meristematic tissue and the leaf. what is the function of the meristematic tissue? Okay, we'll see meristemic versus the leaf. What is the difference? So what is the function of the meristematic tissue? The function of the meristematic cells are continuously dividing and produce various organs of the plant body. That is the function of the meristematic tissue. You all already know, because it is having meristems, it keeps on dividing and it provides the various organs of the body. So how are these cells dividing? How is the meristematic cells dividing? So it is a de novo process. It has been created to undergo division, that is mitotic division. And usually uniform genomes are maintained in this tissue. Okay, that is naturally these meristems are created in such a way they undergo meristematic division. That is the mitotic division. That is its function, so that it can develop an organ. Okay, so we are meristem versus what? Your leaf. What are the leaves? They are right? Their function is photosynthesis. So a leaf is present and it has to do some specialized function. And you know that chloroplast is present in the leaf and it has to do specialized function. So what happens if you compare this meristem with the leaf? You know that the leaf is more specialized when compared to meristem. So the variation, when you ask who's having more variation, the variation is there in the leaf because it is more specialized. So the more the specialization the cell is, more is the variation. More is there can be a somoclonal variation. Hope this two terminology is understood. Okay. So whenever a cell is more specialized, then it can have more of variation. Another example, take the example of the leaf only. You take the example of not a young leaf and matured leaf. Now, who is specialized here? Who will undergo more variation? Your matured leaf will undergo more variation. That is because of the age. Okay, throughout the age, it has started accumulating certain changes, okay, which you can see. Whereas your young leaf, no, it is not that specialized as a mature leaf. So there is less variation in the young leaf when you compare it with your matured leaf. This is called as pre-existing variation. So already in the plant, you have chosen a plant P and that plant is having already variations. And some of the variation we took to the meristematic cells and your specialized cells, that is the leaf. So meristematic cells, their duty is to divide. Okay, they're created for that to divide. They undergo division and they form the various parts of the organ. But what they have observed is leaf, they are more specialized when you compare to meristematic cells. They have the function of photosynthesis. So they are more specialized means they have more variations. There is scope for more variation in the leaf. So the same leaf, I'm comparing my young leaf and the mature leaf. Both are leaf, right? But who's more specialized? The mature leaf is more specialized. Because it is age also matters there. It has undergone throughout its lifetime so many variations, whereas the young leaf, it has not gone.